Hello, hello, hello. Dr. Angela Shuttlesworth here of Be.Lead.Grow. As you know, we help leaders and organizations to prevent and heal toxic work environments. And people say, how do you do that? And that, of course, is through employee engagement, empowering leadership, and establishing safe spaces for creativity and innovation. And that can't be done without leaders who are ready to do the real work, which requires you to be ready to up-level some things, to pivot, to 10x, all of these beautiful words that people have been using lately. But I wanted to make sure that we had a very intentional conversation. Like, are you really ready for that? So a lot of times we say we're ready, we say we want it, but things just continue as they are. Or we say we're ready and we're waiting, but have you truly made the decision to do something different? So I'm coming to you today from Fort Lauderdale after leaving an amazing event with Dee Thompson. I'm going to talk about that in a second and how I even got in the room and what it was for me just to get up and do some things differently. And particularly, I attended the Black Enterprise event a few weeks ago, and it was, there's no words. But I'm going to give you some words, and particularly some words that I got from TD Jakes. So you definitely want to be here. So if you are in a leadership position, management position, or even just ready to do some things differently in your life and the way that you show up to say, you know what, I deserve to create my reality. I deserve to be able to say, this is the life, the leadership, the impact, the career that I desire and deserve, and I'm going to do something about it. And so when people are truly ready, there's evidence of some things that we're going to talk about today. And particularly, I'm going to just be vulnerable and tell you about my story. And for some of you who know this and some of you all who don't, but I call myself a professional mutt because I have been working in many work environments that were beautiful, some I call colorful, and some that had me with headaches, chest pains, and ready to run out the door, right? Because I was just like, enough is enough. There was never enough resources. There were never enough people. There was never enough money. There was never enough time. It just wasn't enough, right? And so I got tired of being in strategic planning meetings with people who I felt were not qualified to do the real work, who didn't take the time to listen and truly engage us as employees at that time in a real process for a vulnerable and honest conversation. So I got tired of being the person who talked about it and made a decision to say, okay, I'm going to be the person who does something about it. So that's when we talk about, are you ready to pivot? Are you ready to really shift from just being the talker, and I would say, to being the doer and then becoming the beer? When you just becomes the be who you are, and it's the essence of who you are, and it just shows up and manifests itself that way. But that's another talk. We'll talk about that. So today, when I thought about this, I was like, okay, if I look at the definition of pivot, and I'm going to read for a second. It says it is the central point or shaft on which a mechanism turns or oscillates. And so I said, okay, I get that. So now, what are we talking about when we say oscillate? So that is to vary in magnitude. There's a difference. In a regular, this is the part that stood out to me, a regular manner around a central point. I'm going to say that again. To vary in magnitude in a regular manner around a central point. So when you say, at this central point, at this time, in this moment, enough is enough. So I am going to pivot from where I am to where I desire to be. That can be enough. And there can be a difference. And so the thing about it is that you have to ask yourself, has this decision truly been made? And you all know I love some acronyms. And excuse me for moving around, because as you all see, I am out here on the pier and it is active. So there's a little bit of noise, there's a lot of sunshine, and of course, hey, look at her go. And I am loving, you saw the pool as well. I'm loving my glow. Normally people are like, woo, get rid of the glow. I'm like, no, take it all in. Give me all my vitamin D. So, as I was saying, I have an acronym for you. And when the decision has been made, there's a difference. So, if you don't see it in your words and in your actions, then you're not ready. And it's not, when I say words, I'm talking about the words that you say to yourself and the words that you say to others. Like, oftentimes we always think about external validation, like somebody else promoting you. and or creating the space for you where you then say, okay, obviously I'm ready because they've made that decision. So what are the words that you say to yourself to get you prepared, to get you in a space where you're like, I don't care what it looks like around me, the decision has been made. So when we talk about made, M is you first have to have a mindset for success. Listen, when I tell y'all this journey of entrepreneurship is not for the faint at heart. You know, you see a lot of people out here, start your own business, leave your job, you create your own freedom. All that sounds real good, but it is not easy. Every single day, you have to make a decision. Am I really going to show up in the fullness of who I am? As you all know, my thing is always to say, to show up and to show out every day in every aspect of your life. And I can always tell when I'm falling short. So it's like, okay, in this area of my life, I may be shining bright. Shine bright like a diamond. Okay, you know, right? So I'm showing up and everybody's seeing the fullness of me in that realm. But when I get honest and I'm looking at other areas of my life, I may be falling short. And so you have to think about, okay, well, what's happening? Again, going back to our words and mindset, what am I saying to myself in those moments? And you all know how I am about power. Anytime you hear me say power, think about voice and choice. How am I using my voice and what choices am I making, right? So using my power to have a mindset for success. It's not easy. So my mindset used to tell me that, you all know, after living overseas and traveling the world and starting this business, you know, I love to talk about how I quit my job without a plan. I do not recommend it. You know, I left my tenure track professor position because I was like, I can't do this anymore. I just could not tolerate the lack of connection, the lack of space to really foster my creativity and my innovation. And I would always tell my students, now this is where you know the evidence of it, and we'll talk about that in a second. But when I would always tell them, your genius will make room for you. And when my students started telling me the same thing, like, the world is out there and they need you. So I had to trust that to create this business, to be able to do that. And it took a lot of mindset for success. I'm worthy of this. People are going to show up. Even when they won't show up, I'm still going to do the work. People will support me in my vision. There's obviously a need. I have value I bring to the table. I've been doing this work for many, many years. I started teaching almost 15 years ago. And so people looked at my young age. And so when those little things would creep in, like, oh, well, she's, you know, only this age. What does she know? And then when they start to hear more of my story, then it's like, oh, okay. Then when they start to look at the resume and see the agencies that I've worked with, such as Boeing, Health and Human Services, like, it's like, oh, so somebody else, so that's the outside validation, right? But I can't rely on that. I have to personally keep and maintain, remember, that mindset for success. So you have to ask yourself, do you really have that? Is success even really your goal? Think about that. And so one of the things that stopped me from that, and this is an honest moment for you, is that I used to have this excuse about why I stayed up late at night. And everybody to say, oh, the early bird gets the worm. And I'm like, well, I'm the bird that get it before the bird that's waking up. So that was my thing until I got to the Black Men Excel conference. And that takes us to A. And A, you got to be able to apply the lessons that others are trying to teach you. And you think about those moments where people will say, that's just who I am. And I'm like, if that is just who you are, then that is just who you're going to be. And oftentimes that holds us hostage because we're so comfortable and we're in this comfort zone versus being willing to say, somebody actually is willing to share with me something because it has value, because it's going to do something for me, because they care, right? So a lot of times those lessons will come and they will either fall on deaf ears. So if you're not willing to apply the lessons, you're not ready to pivot. It's just that simple. You're not ready. And when you're ready, you'll do something different. So for example, TD Jakes was speaking to us, and one of the comments that resonated with me, and I made it personal, he was talking to me, you know, you'd be in church like, that's for me, where he said that old money moves in the morning and new money moves at night. If you want to work with organizations and corporations, he said, you got to get up. And if you want that new money, he used Puffy as an example. He said, then you stay up late at night. And so I was like, ouch, he's stepping on my toes. So fast forward to today. I got the beautiful opportunity, thanks to my brother Terrence Vessel, who I'm so appreciative of, to attend D. Thompson's event today. And in order for me to get here on time, or to get here when it starts, right, I had to make a decision. Was I going to get up and be on the train at 7 o'clock? Not get up at 7, to be here, even though it didn't start till 9:30. There was no 8 o'clock train, so I had to come from West Palm Beach down to Fort Lauderdale. And I had to make a decision, is this important? And I said, you know what? I made a decision that if somebody cares about me and they make a recommendation, this is my year of yes, I'm just going to do it. I didn't know who D. Thompson was. I didn't know who Butterfly was. But I knew that Terrence had told me that there was some place that I needed to be. So I went. And it also required me to get up early in the morning. So I had to take heed to what TD Jakes was saying and say, this is worth my investment. So we think about, am I willing to invest my time, my talent, and my treasure? That's a whole nother conversation. But in this moment, it was my energy, my time. Am I willing to go to sleep at night? Am I willing to do what's required for me to show up as my best self in the morning? I mean, down to the littlest things of putting your clothes out at night. You know, what are the things that are stopping you from really showing up and doing something about it? How do you remove those barriers? So again, those are the things that I'm sure somebody told you from childhood, right? Make your bed up in the morning. You feel better when you come home at night. All those little things, all those little lessons, are you really applying them? Because when you get to the next level and when you truly are desiring to pivot, there's going to be new lessons that you have to learn. And oftentimes, I'm not going to say all the time, because some people like to, hold people hostage to that. Like, well, until you do this, it's not going to happen. But oftentimes, until you have applied lessons at one level, very rarely are you going to be able to get to the next level because you haven't done nothing with what you had. So are you, first, we said M, do you have a mindset for success? And then A, are you applying the lessons that you've learned? And then D, are you willing to go the distance? The distance between where you are and where you want to be. And keeping in mind what is required of that. And sometimes that means distancing yourself from people, places, and things. Sounds so simple, right? But it's so far from easy, and we all know that, right? Because we have people who we know and love and trust who've been with us on this journey for so long, and we just don't want to let them go. We don't want to isolate ourselves sometimes and to, one, believe and trust that somebody's going to be on the other side that desires that relationship, that's worthy of that relationship, that's going to have the resources and support, that will be able to give us what we need. And that longing. I remember this story where a pastor, Jenkins, from Maryland, I'm like, I should know the name of this church, but it's a large church in Maryland, where he talked about this child who was playing in a playground and how they were building sandcastles and they were doing all of these different things that were bringing them joy. So you playing in a sandcastle, throwing dirt everywhere, all this is amazing. And there was this lesson or this spirit saying, hey Melissa, I see you. And there was this lesson saying, you know what? This spirit and this energy saying, let's get out of this sandbox because there's more for me right outside of this sandbox. I ain't even got to go far. It's not even a great distance. But the person was so comfortable in that sandbox that they didn't want to move. So eventually, sometimes life situations will force you out of the sandbox and to the point where you have no choice but to experience what's in the next level. And in the scenario, the person who was leaving the sandbox, there was this whole big park in this space that was waiting for them. There was the monkey bars. There was the jungle gym. There was the swings. There was all of these different things that was like, I was so content with this sand, right? That the sand was enough. Because the sand, I could make castles. I could do this. I could do that. So this is enough. And how often, when we're being honest, do we settle for this, whatever that scenario, being enough? And so you have to trust that outside of that settle zone, aka comfort zone, aka what feels good, sounds good, looks good, sometimes for others, is not what truly is the level of abundance for you. Pivoting and making a choice to up level to 10x is going to get you there. And so the last thing is, and this is the beautiful thing that I kind of shared a little bit of it with you earlier, is E, to see the evidence of nurtured relationships. Relationships are everything. And the higher you go in life, in career, in business, and when you want to make a greater impact, you have to have higher levels and degrees of relationship. And I would even add in those relationships, oftentimes you have a shorter time period to build that trust. And that we always say the like, know, and trust factor, right? And so do you have evidence that the relationships that you have are really showing up and bearing fruit? So I gave you the example of how today somebody saw in me that I needed to be in the room. I didn't even know who these people were. I didn't know where I was going. But there was like, not only do you need to be there, I'm paying for your ticket because I know that you need to meet these people. And so that's evidence. But also the lesson that I got from TD Jakes was another level of a nurtured relationship, where I had actually volunteered to attend the Black Enterprise Conference and to just help out how I can, which meant that I would get access to some of the events if there was space, or I would be able to, meet some of the people. I would be able to, hey, the bar is enough. I can meet people outside. I can, I had all these justifications of just getting in the room. Then I got a text message that says, hey, do you want to attend the conference? Now, I'm already signed up and volunteering. I'm in the space. So, which is another level of still move now at the level where you are with the opportunities that exist. But then allow those next relationships to take you further. And so then I got a love gift from a family friend that I became a registrant. So I went from volunteering in the space, and this ain't no the next year, the next conference. It was the first event, the welcome reception, where that one shift allowed me to be in the room where first Bishop T.D. Jakes was getting his award. And then I was able to not worry the next day and to attend the luncheon with ease. And I got the access, which comes with a whole nother territory of me attending a golf academy. Do y'all understand that golf is now my boo? Golf is bae. That's my new hashtag. But seriously, and that's a whole nother conversation around like the access that comes from even that space. You have to be willing to leave from where you are and to pivot into new territory to receive all that is for you. What you desire and deserve is not where you are, period. So you have to make a decision. And hopefully, I hope that your decision has been made in this conversation today. And so whether you're watching the replay, whether you're watching this later today, I want you to write in the comments, decision made, right? Hashtag decision made. And that means you have the mindset for success, that you are applying the lessons that you're learning, that D, you're willing to go the distance, right? The distance to and fro. And there's some evidence of the relationships that you're in and that you've nurtured. And those are all the things that leaders actually just need to succeed, period. And there's, of course, more that we could talk about. And I want to also extend a welcome to you all to join me and leaders from around the globe, where we're going to go on a 31-day journey in the next couple of days for the 31 Days of Power Challenge, where every single day in your inbox, and sometimes you'll get videos, and sometimes we'll have little private stuff too, where we're going to be talking about how to up-level your leadership. And oftentimes people think, okay, I'm trying to make a greater impact with others. It's them. So yes, effective communication is key. Hey, how you doing? Thanks for joining in. So of course, effective communication with others requires sometimes for them to do things. But leadership begins with self. I really wish more leaders understood that. When you do make shifts within you, you show up differently. And of course, people are going to perceive you differently, and they'll attach to you differently, and it's going to create different results, right? It seems so simple. Oh want people to just listen. So starting October 1st, we will be starting the 31 Days of Power Challenge. And I invite you to join us. And if you go over today, in the next couple of days, I offered it to those who are on my email list at a very, very discounted price. Then you'll still get that because the links are there for them. So you can get access to that as well. And this actually technically is my first time where I'm announcing it. And so what we're going to be doing is going through this journey where you will get 31 power strategies to remove the barriers for you to thrive. So what are those things that have been hindering you from truly, fully showing up as your best self? And that starts with, we spend a lot of time in understanding, as I say, who you are. And then there's a section where it's like, what do I need to succeed, right? And then I put you through these experiences. And it's like, okay, I need to experience this element today. And then we go into a place of doing to a space of being. And so I want you to head on over to Be.Lead.Grow.com/31 Days of Power and join us. We're starting on October 1st, but again, the prices that you see today will maybe not be the prices of tomorrow. And I can almost tell you that they're going to be changing, shifting, so that's why I'm not putting the price on here. But it is definitely going to surprise you. And I'm telling you, if you're ready to pivot, it makes no sense for you not to do it. So head on over again to Be.Lead.Grow.com/31 Days of Power to give you the tools that you need. Once you've made the decision, now it's all in your hands, right? So decision made, do it. And I'm going to be here to support you. Other leaders have already started to sign up. And so we are ready to get this party started because I keep telling y'all, we have the power to heal the earth. And I can't do it by myself. So I need some willing participants who are ready to go. Like we said, enough is enough. I'm tired of sitting around talking about it. I want to do something about it. So if you're in that space and you're truly, truly ready, I don't want you to just sign up and just pay for something where you're not going to give it to yourself, but you deserve to end this year with a bang. And if you want to end this year accomplishing the goals that you set out for yourself back in January, or set new goals, how about that? Give yourself freedom to make a different decision. Then head on over. And if you have any questions, feel free to inbox me and or leave your comments below. And I will be here to make sure that you get what you need. So again, I'm Dr. Angela Shuttlesworth of Be.Lead.Grow. I'm so grateful for those of you who were able to be here with me live, and for those of you who are catching the replay. And of course, as always, yes, people ask me, is it okay if I share your videos? Yes, I would love for you to do that because it's not just for you. The lesson is for many, many others who are definitely ready to make that shift. And the more the merrier. So bring people to the party, like my old boss used to say, don't invite me to the party unless you want me to dance. So if they're ready to dance with us, if they're ready to pivot, if they're ready to really create this life that they desire and deserve, then do that. And as you all know, I end every video the same way. And that is a intentional reminder to you that yes, the world deserves the best of you. But at the end of the day, and at the beginning of the day, and throughout every aspect of the day, you deserve you at your best. So give yourself what you need to succeed in all areas of your life. And I look forward to talking to you and supporting you. And let's do the doggone thing. Talk to you soon. Peace.